In 2017, a teen suffering from depression took the first step in healing her mental health when she bravely got out of bed and sought help. Surprisingly, the support she received was found at a local hair salon, when two caring hairdressers gave her the help she deserved that would boost her self-esteem and ultimately change her life. When a teenager from Iowa suffering with depression felt too worthless to leave her bedroom, everything seemed unimportant. The effort of getting out of bed was immensely tough for her, let alone taking care of her personal hygiene. The painful reality of depression interfered with the teenager's abilities to leave her bed, except for when she had to use the bathroom. Over time, lying in bed caused a complex tangle of issues for the young woman. The teenager couldn't even carry out day-to-day routines like combing her hair, and so, as she lay in bed every day without brushing it, her long hair soon matted together into a thick mass that was impossible to deal with. One day, the 16-year-old decided enough was enough and felt that in order to feel better, she first needed to fix the problem with her hair. She didn't even care if the only solution was shaving her head bald. She then paid a visit to the local beauty school hoping someone could help her save at least some of her hair. When she arrived to her local salon, the teenager explained to the hairdressers that picture day at school was coming up. She suggested to them to cut off all her hair because she didn't think it was possible to comb out the tangles, nor did she want to experience that pain. The hairdressers in the salon feared that it would be a complex mission, but they were up for the challenge. Cutting her hair was absolutely not an option for me, one of the hairdressers said in an interview. I knew right then and there that we had to keep as much hair as possible. At this point, they didn't know how the teenager's hair got in such a matted mess, but once they started to work on her they learned the distressing reason behind it all. The skilled stylist who eagerly decided to help the teenager was 20-year-old Kaylee Olson from Capri College, a beauty and cosmetology school in Iowa. The trainee hairdresser took one look at the matted mane and knew she had a difficult task on her hands, but nevertheless, jumped on the opportunity to help the teenager and began to work her magic. Later in an interview, Kaylee remembered how the teen confided in her about her depression as she began to detangle her hair. Kaylee explained how the 16-year-old felt so down and so worthless she couldn't even brush her hair, she only got up to use the restroom. Kaylee's fellow hairdresser, Mariah Wenger, also came to the rescue as she was eager to help the teen feel better about herself. Once the 16-year-old was sitting in the salon chair, she began to bond with the hairdressers and share with them the dark details of her depression. Supporting and helping the teenager was close to Mariah Wenger's heart as she too understood what it was like to suffer from depression. I was able to very closely relate to her mental health problems and the daily struggle that comes with them, due to my struggles with postpartum depression and anxiety, Wenger explained in an interview. Kaylee Olson and Mariah Wenger knew they had to be patient with their new client as this was clearly no ordinary day at the salon. They both knew that this job would take all day and possibly even the run into the next day, but they were determined that the final outcome would be worth it. Although Kaylee and Mariah had their hands full, they were sympathetic towards the teenager and her story. Feeling vulnerable and embarrassed, the young woman was in the best care as her hairdressers were compassionate and understanding, which was just what the 16-year-old needed. The two women spent an ambitious 10 hours over 2 days combing through the teenager's matted hair. It took a lot of encouraging words, reassurance, and just plain conversation to take her mind off of the pain involved in removing the matting and to boost her self-esteem and confidence, Mariah explained. Both women knew they were on the verge of helping to boost the teenager's self-esteem. I understood how it felt to feel worthless. A child should never feel like that, Mariah asserted. In an interview with the BBC, Kaylee reflected on the importance of cheering others up. I knew I had to help her, just like people helped me. We all deserve to feel beautiful. After Kaylee encountered the 16-year-old, she felt compelled to share her experience online. In a Facebook post she wrote, "Today I had one of the hardest experiences. I had a 16-year-old girl come in who has been dealing with severe depression for a few years now." She explained how she helped the teenager and shed some light on the reality behind depression. Kaylee Olson's post was shared over 55,000 times online, which showed the harrowing truth behind depression and mental illness. She explained how the teenager, who she kept anonymous, felt so down and so worthless she couldn't even brush her hair, she only got up to use the restroom. Since posting her experience on Facebook, Kaylee's post has received over 60,000 comments with people sharing their own stories of struggling with their mental health. Facebook users commented words of praise for the teenager's bravery and also for the hairdressers. They celebrated the women's patience and compassion for the 16-year-old as well as their unquestionable skills with a comb. One woman on Facebook commented on her similar experience when suffering with depression, "It's happened to me. I suffer with bipolar and had an episode and didn't brush my hair or take care of myself. Just remember, beautiful girl, you're not on your own. It makes sense that when someone is suffering from depression, the last thing that person is concerned about is maintaining their appearance. The comments under Kaylee's Facebook post explain the reality of this. I work with mental health and good for you. I see this daily, it's sad but so true, one person commented. The teenager's hair was transformed into fabulous, silky locks and people took to Facebook to commend both hairdressers. Facebook users applauded their understanding that their client was dealing with more than just knotted hair. The teenager was really suffering from lack of motivation due to her depression. You are awesome to recognize this as a mental issue and also for giving her back her dignity by fixing her hair issues. It's important for anyone working in the beauty industry to have compassion for clients, as most of the time people go to salons and spas to correct insecurities that they have, so hairdressers must be warm and attentive to their clients, and Kaylee and Mariah were exactly that. I've been in this position and I can't tell you how comforting and important it is for a hairdresser to be kind and understanding. I wasn't judged either and got my hair back to being beautiful, one woman wrote. After tears of joy were being shed between the three women in the salon, the teenager left the salon that day feeling like a more energetic version of herself. When saying goodbye to the hairdressers, the 16-year-old cheerfully called out, "I will actually smile for my school's pictures today. You made me feel like me again." If you enjoyed this story, wait for our next story starting in 10 seconds. A nurse from North Georgia was charged with forgery and identity theft after playing havoc with people's emotions in their bank accounts. In 2016, 29-year-old Mary Bennett lied to people all over the northern part of the state by pretending that she was dying, and in response, people donated their hard-earned money to help her tick items off her bucket list. Foolish as she was not expecting to get caught. Mary Bennett spent years on social media broadcasting that she was sick in order to gain sympathy from the public. As many expressed their condolences, she realized that she could con people into doing nice things for her. The licensed practical nurse disgracefully used the public's kindness to enjoy years of free activities. Bennett told people that she was diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer and that she wanted to live life to the fullest before she succumbed to her terminal illness. As well as lying online, Bennett was also getting pretty good at acting and even recorded her head being shaved in preparation for her fake chemotherapy appointments. She later posted the video online, informing her followers that she was undergoing treatment. The funds just kept pouring in as more people sympathized with the woman. Bennett also posted pictures of her in a face mask, telling her followers that her immune system was becoming poorer and poorer. However, she fooled the public into thinking that her sickness would not stop her from living life to the max. As donations for her bucket list flooded in, Bennett realized she could continue to cleverly manipulate her community into providing her with a leisurely lifestyle that she didn't have to pay for. For example, some of those funds were used for a free trip to New Orleans that she bragged about on social media. While enjoying her pastimes, Bennett was brainstorming more fun things that she could do that wouldn't cost her a dime. She added a hot air balloon ride to her list, and with the sympathy of the public, she got it. The deceitful act even got Bennett a free trip to Treasure Bay Casino, a casino hotel on a beach along the Gulf of Mexico, which made use of her ability to milk her followers for every penny that she could get. Bennett kept up the charade when she competed in a marathon for cancer survivors. She continued to document her fake journey with cancer all over social media to gain the compassion of her friends, who were ultimately supplying her with her free gifts. Another one of the activities Bennett wanted to do before she was supposed to decline in health and kick the bucket was skydiving. Before jumping out of the plane, Bennett was asked by one of the crew, "Anything you want to say to the people on the ground?" To which she replied, "Another check off the bucket list." In true con artist style, what Bennett wanted, she got. A free fishing trip in the Gulf of Mexico was just another thing on her bucket list, and as the list grew bigger, so did the funds she received. You would think that at some point Bennett would realize that what she was doing was not only a crime, but ethically wrong, as she emotionally blackmailed kind-hearted people. Instead, Bennett managed to increase donations for a free ride on the Skyview over the Centennial Park. The supposedly dying woman also tricked the public into paying for a hunting trip with celebrity hunter Haley Heath. She updated her followers online with a gruesome photo of herself next to her trophy. She even had a professional baseball team eating out of the palm of her hand. She was gifted free tickets to watch the Atlanta Braves play, and she received a signed card from 3 of the team's players and their manager that read, "In our thoughts and prayers." It seemed that taking advantage of the people of North Georgia was becoming Bennett's full-time job. A massive spaghetti dinner was held in Bennett's honor, which raised $4,000. Local restaurant owner and host, Kirk McConnell, later recounted how he even gave Bennett money out of his own pocket. During all of her deceit, Bennett managed to get an honorary ride alongside the Lumpkin County Sheriff's Department during a motorcycle fundraiser in aid of her bucket list. She also attained free tickets to Phantom of the Opera, free tickets to World of Coke, and a free tour and cookbook from Mary Mac's Tea Room. The registered nurse squeezed a total of $25,000 from the donations of well-wishers online and in person. Bennett even lied to her close friends and family, forbidding them to accompany her to any medical appointments. As well as telling people she was suffering from ovarian cancer, Bennett lied to her family about having a procedure done on her brain. She faked visiting a hospital for gamma knife radiosurgery to treat her fake brain tumors, and wore bandages on her head to add flesh to her lie. In 2015, Bennett flew to Houston with her oblivious parents to visit the well-known MD Anderson Cancer Center. Bennett claimed to have had an appointment in the famous cancer hospital, but instead, the trip was a fun holiday. In fact, the funds for her Houston trip came from the spaghetti dinner fundraiser that raised $4,000, as well as the money from the restaurant owner's own wallet. Eventually, people began to have their suspicions about Mary Bennett and her terminal illness. Her bucket list was getting longer and longer while Bennett's condition was seemingly improving and she was making a miraculous recovery. In 2015, Forsyth County Sheriff's Department and the Fox 5i team received an anonymous envelope with photos of social media posts claiming Bennett was a fake all along. After an investigation into the nurse's background, authorities could see that this woman was suspicious. Detective Jeffrey Rowe was the person who conducted the investigation into Bennett. He did a background check of every hospital plus surrounding hospitals that Bennett allegedly visited, and there was no record of her. In an interview with Fox in 2016, he explained that no hospital knew of her nor did they ever treat her for cancer. Mary Bennett was eventually arrested on charges of forgery and identity theft. The con artist was also accused of faking medical records that made her case more believable when lying about being a cancer patient. After her arrest, Detective Rowe asked Mary Bennett to show him her scars from the surgeries she claimed to have had, but she replied that it was a miracle that she had none. She continued to deny her crime, but eventually surrendered to the authorities. Bennett has been called out on social media for taking advantage of people online, including sufferers of cancer, survivors of cancer, and those who have lost loved ones to the disease. Detective Rowe has asked anyone who was victim of Bennett's crimes to come forward.